This is what being a NASCAR fan is all about. Singular history and tradition. Unmatched on-track intensity. And triple-header playoffs action to ratchet up the stakes. Throw in a can't-miss concert, camping, and the legendary atmosphere of Talladega Boulevard. And you've got more than a race. You've got Talladega. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Roll Tide and welcome to this Thursday edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. This is Roger Hoover. Great to be with you in studio here in Tuscaloosa as we get ready to head to Athens, Georgia for the Crimson Tide and the Georgia Bulldogs coming up on Saturday night. We'll start our show by taking a look at what's coming up, plus our headlines thanks to our friends RJ Young. RJ Young, the official technology solutions provider of Crimson Drive. They've given us the smart board to go through everything in a very interactive way this afternoon. We'll first be visiting with Zabien Brown. He had the game-ending interception against Georgia a year ago. Now he's back for his sophomore season. He'll join us to tell us about everything for this Alabama secondary going into the Georgia game. Then we'll visit with one of our friends from Visit Pensacola, Darien Schaefer, the president and CEO of Visit Pensacola. He'll talk about how Pensacola really is the perfect beach destination for this time of the year, especially if Alabama's on the road like we're seeing it for the Georgia game. Visit Pensacola, our game sponsor, coming up for this week. Then Scott Howard, the voice of the Georgia Bulldogs, will join us for the other booth presented by Marathon to give us a full scouting report on Georgia leading into this matchup. And we'll round out the show by hearing not just from DeBoer, but also Bray Hubbard with the final word from last night's edition of Hey Coach. So Crimson Tide football on the road, getting ready to take on the Georgia Bulldogs. Earlier this week, we did get the SEC schedules, at least the home and away matchups for the next 4 years. Again, the conference moving to a 9-game schedule. With that, you will have 3 annual opponents. I'm about to say permanent, but these could change in the future. Auburn, Tennessee, and Mississippi State will be the annual opponents that Alabama will play. But the good news is you will still see everybody once every 2 years. You'll still go everywhere in the league once every 4 years. So think about this. Alabama taking on Georgia for the first time since 2015 in Athens. Well, we're not going to have to wait that long for our next trip there. And we know Georgia's coming back here next year. So again, the schedule much more balanced coming up with 9 games in the future. And again, those 3 annual opponents, Auburn, Tennessee, and Mississippi State. Speaking of Georgia, again, under the lights at Sanford Stadium, 6:30 Central kickoff. Our radio coverage will start at 3:30. Alabama has enjoyed a lot of success against Georgia through the years, winning 9 of the last 10 matchups, including DeBoer winning his first time coaching against Kirby Smart last year here in Tuscaloosa. Some other notes around Crimson Tide athletics. The soccer team returns to action coming up tomorrow for a Friday night kick in Lexington against the Kentucky Wildcats. 6:30 p.m. will be the start time for that match between Alabama and Kentucky. Volleyball team, they are also starting SEC play coming up this weekend with 2 tough matches on the road at Auburn and at Florida. Tomorrow at Auburn and then Sunday coming up against the Florida Gators. Then this week it's been busy at Coleman Coliseum and Foster Auditorium with basketball practice starting for the men's and the women's basketball team. Some more men's basketball details about the SEC ACC Challenge, a Wednesday night game against Clemson coming up on December 3rd. That was announced yesterday as well, and we're getting closer and closer to those exhibition matchups as well. Bama in Boutwell for Alabama against Florida State coming up at the end of October. We are not done yet. We're ready to go for our one-on-one conversation with Zabien Brown. He had the game-ending interception for the Crimson Tide last year against Georgia. He joins us to talk about everything that's new for him and the Crimson Tide here in 2025. Roll Tide, and welcome back to Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Roger Hoover now pleased to be joined by Crimson Tide sophomore Zabien Brown, outstanding defensive back that was freshman All-SEC last year. And Zabien, Roll Tide, how excited are you for 2025 to finally be here?
I'm excited. I'm ready for season to kick off.
What do you feel like you learned most getting to play in the SEC last year, especially stepping up as a starter as a freshman?
I would say just like the pace and the energy, high energy of the game.
And we saw some great moments for you, specifically against Georgia to close out that game in an Alabama victory. Just tell us about that interception you had at the end of the ball game.
Yeah, it was a special moment. Definitely will be remembered. And I'm just, excited to be here.
Yeah, 4 games into your Alabama career, you have like a really signature moment. What was like the next 24 hours like for you after that ball game? Did you hear from a lot of friends, family,
Uh,
Alabama fans?
yeah, my phone wasn't working for most of the night. It was pretty blown up.
Oh, that's really cool. Not only were you able to have a great moment like that, but you also had interceptions against Auburn and Michigan later on that season. Just what made some of those moments great for you on the field?
um, I just feel like they just, when you out there playing hard and you read your keys, great things happen, and I was just, I was just able to capitalize.
You really were. And again, freshman All SEC honors for you able to do last year. What do you feel like also helped in your transition going from high school football at a high level at modern day, but then you step into playing for Alabama in the SEC? Who are some people that really helped you along?
I would say definitely leadership. Guys like Damani and Deontay, Sab, those type of guys, just really bringing everybody in, making sure everybody comfortable, and building team chemistry.
Damani also into modern day. How long have you guys known each other?
It's been some years. We played left and right corner together in high school.
Is it pretty cool you're reunited now? Did you ever think that would happen?
Definitely not, but it's super awesome though.
You guys are pretty good friends away from the field as well.
Yes, sir.
That's good. How connected is this secondary, just in terms of off-field chemistry and things like that?
I feel like this year's where like that kind of stepped up. We hanging out a lot more, doing things, just building off the field chemistry. I feel like it's just as important.
You feel everyone's a little more comfortable this year? It's not the coaching staff's first time going through game day in Tuscaloosa or getting through an SEC schedule, but for you as well, just everything's got to be a little more familiar, I would imagine.
Yeah, most definitely. You could even see in how we practice in the spring. It was super different.
Super different, but still some skill you had to go up against from the wide receiving core. How much of those guys make you better?
Those dudes are great. They have, we have so many different types of receivers, different types of players and stuff like that. So getting to go against that type of diversity, it really just makes us sharper.
Is there one receiver you went up against more than any other?
I would say not.
Okay.
No, they move around a lot.
They certainly do.
Yeah.
What's the challenge of trying to slow down a guy like Ryan Williams?
Yeah, I think it just comes from knowing your opponent, and I get to practicing against him, thankfully, all the time. So that he helps me.
Yeah, I imagine that has to help on game day, right?
Yeah, for sure.
How explosive can this defense be?
We can be extremely explosive. The amount of turnovers we had last year, and everybody returning, and the way we're practicing, moving around, it's only gonna get better.
And tell us about Jason Jones, the impact he's made in the coaching staff.
Yeah, Coach Jones, he's a great dude. First year here, we got used to him real quick, and he was a great addition for us.
How did he and Coach Linguist work together?
They smooth.
That's good.
Yeah.
So really connected coaching staff, and then Coach Womack as well. Do you like this like swarm D mentality this group plays with?
Yeah, even on the game, NCAA, we playing Swarm D everywhere.
Are you pretty happy with your ratings and how you look on the game this year?
I mean, yeah, I won the game. Yeah, it's great.
That's really cool. Well, again, you're getting ready for it, especially year coming up for Alabama football. What's been some of your favorite moments of game day here at Bryant-Denny Stadium?
I would just say like the energy, like you just wake up, go outside, the air feel a little different. Like we live, breathe football here, so yeah.
That's really great to be a part of. Again, the Crimson Tide getting set for this 2025 season. Specifically looking at like starting the year on the road. Is that kind of a fun mindset to have, knowing you get to go to someone else's place, a Power 4 opponent like Florida State?
Yeah, we ready. We ready to roll.
That's good. How does Coach DeBoer keep you motivated throughout the year?
Coach DeBoer, he preaches consistency, 1-0. He always say like, can we sustain where we at right now, and keep adding to, never going back a step.
That's great to see. So again, the Crimson Tide gearing up for the season, and Zabien Brown, a huge part of it. Just thank you for the time you've given us here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Best of luck with everything coming up. Roll Tide.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
This is what being a NASCAR fan is all about. Singular history and tradition, and triple-header playoffs action to ratchet up the stakes. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Appreciate the time of Zabien Brown. Best of luck to him and the Crimson Tide secondary coming up against a high-powered Georgia offense coming up on Saturday. If you're looking to dial things back just a little bit, make sure you make your way to Pensacola, Florida. It is the way to beach, and Darren Schaefer joins us from Visit Pensacola to talk about why this is the perfect destination for maybe a time when the Crimson Tide are on the road. Coming up the first weekend in November, the Crimson Tide will have their second open date of the season. This really is the perfect time to get down to Pensacola, and for more on that, we welcome in our friend, Darren Schaefer.
Welcome back to Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR. Roger Hoover now pleased to be joined by one of our good friends on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, Darren Schaefer. He is the president and CEO of Visit Pensacola. Visit Pensacola is this week's game sponsor for Alabama on the road against Georgia. So, Darren, Pensacola, if fans are not making the trip to Georgia, and there's a lot more beachfront. There's a lot more to do in Pensacola, Florida this weekend. How's everything going in Pensacola as we look forward to visiting with you over the next few minutes?
Yeah, things are going great. This is really my favorite time of the year to enjoy the weather and the beaches and all the things that are going on in the Pensacola area.
It really is a great time to get down there because the beachfront is just so different than other spots we see around the Gulf Coast, especially different than the East Coast. So what makes Pensacola Beach, Perdido Key, and then also the Gulf Islands National Seashore so unique from other spots?
You know, we're fortunate because the beaches are truly amazing, and that white sand and that blue-green water and clear. And this time of the year, the waves are calmer. I mean, it's amazing. But we are so much more than just the beach. And I think where we stand out is we have this authentic downtown based on our history that has restaurants and shopping, nightlife, museums, and theaters. And we also are home to the Pensacola Naval Aviation Museum, which is a must-see. It's this amazing collection of planes that is hard to find anywhere else. And then they opened up a new exhibit, a new POW exhibit that is phenomenal.
That's really great to hear. And you mentioned the great history that Pensacola has. I think when a lot of people think of the oldest communities in the country, they may point to St. Augustine, they may point to Charleston on the East Coast, but Pensacola has such a really deep history, especially with all the different rulers we've seen throughout the years.
Yeah. What I didn't even know until I moved to Pensacola is that Pensacola is the first European settlement in America. It was established in 1559 by a Spanish explorer, Tristan de Luna, and it was about 6 years before St. Augustine was established. And since then, we've had 5 flags that have flown over Pensacola Bay, including the French, Spanish, and British. And so what I think is special is you see it in the architecture, you know, the food, and truly the pride that our residents have in sharing this with the visitors and people moving to the area.
All right, you mentioned food. You're making me hungry. What are some of the spots people need to check out for food in Pensacola? Because there are so many different options you can have there.
There are. So it doesn't matter if you're in Perdido Key or downtown or on Pensacola Beach. You've got great options because, you know, this is where the food comes straight from the tide to table. Fresh seafood is amazing. Oysters are king. And what I truly appreciate is we have a lot of chef-owned restaurants. Certainly we have your favorite chains, but we have great options for whether it's white cloth or you still want a foot in the sand. You really can't go wrong.
Really can't go wrong, especially with everything coming up in Pensacola over the next few weeks. I know the Alabama soccer team will be making their way for the SEC soccer tournament coming up at the beginning of November. But what else is coming up during a really busy time of the year over these next few weeks?
It is. It seems like Pensacola always has something going on, a festival, event, always live music that's happening. Like this weekend, we have the Pensacola Seafood Festival. And then beginning of October, we have the Pensacola Beach Songwriters Festival through October 12th. But a great time to come if you're looking to spend more than just a couple days is the first 10 to 15 days of November, because that is when we do have the SEC Women's Soccer Championship Tournament from November 2nd through the 9th, but also so many other things. So we have something called Foo Foo Festival, and that is like an arts and culture festival where all of our different museums and all of our cultural organizations, whether it's a symphony or theater, do special things. And then on top of that, there's the Gulf Coast Arts Festival, the Greek Festival, and then, of course, the Blue Angels Homecoming Show is November 14th and 15th, and that's on the base. And it's an amazing air show that people would definitely enjoy. And then all that's wrapped up in the Frank Brown Songwriters Festival that also lasts 10 days. So it's my favorite 2 weeks of the year is the beginning of November.
That's certainly exciting. And for more information, and especially for people trying to plan their visit to Pensacola, where should they head online for more resources?
So I would recommend everybody to check out visitpensacola.com. That's our website that has everything on it, as far as from lodging to meals to especially events, blogs that have itinerary examples or answers to a lot of your questions, and great photography. So you really get an idea of the kind of experiences that you can enjoy when you're here in the Pensacola area. So yeah, visitpensacola.com is the place to go.
Well, we can't wait until our next visit, Pensacola visit coming up. Darren, you guys have been such great partners with us on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. We hope Alabama fans will make their way to the Sugar Sand Beaches coming up over the next few weeks. Just thank you for the time you've given us, and all the best.
Appreciate the time of Darren Schaefer, and now it's time for us to focus on Athens, Georgia. The Crimson Tide and the Bulldogs coming up on Saturday under the lights at Sanford Stadium, and it's time for The Other Booth, presented by Marathon, as we go down the hall and visit with the Georgia radio broadcaster, Scott Howard. He'll give us a scouting report on Kirby Smart's team, maybe some things that are different for the Bulldogs here in 2025. Here is The Other Booth, again presented by Marathon.
The scouting report on the Georgia Bulldogs from the voice of the Dogs, Scott Howard, as Alabama prepares for its first visit to Athens since 2015. And Scott, it's good to see you. How's everything for you and the Georgia Bulldogs heading into this matchup with Crimson Tide?
Roger, everything's fine with me for the most part, and I think the football team as well. You know, both sides had a week off and a little healing time. So I think Georgia's in good shape and ready for a fun one on Saturday.
Well, you had a fun one, maybe more fun than you would have liked at Neyland Stadium a few weeks ago in Knoxville after Georgia started the year with wins against Austin Peay and Marshall. Take us through that ball game. Georgia had to really rally back several times. How'd you see that one shake out for the Bulldogs in Knoxville?
Oh, it was it was like a punch in the mouth in that first quarter. Tennessee really came out revved up. Their offense was in high gear, and Georgia was just trying to hang on in that first 15 minutes. It was 21-7 after that, and they certainly found their footing in the second quarter. And by the half, I think it was a 4-point game, and then the second half was just a knockdown drag out, and, all the way into overtime. And Tennessee missed a chance to win the game in regulation when they missed that field goal. And that kind of gave Georgia a little extra boost at that point. And Tennessee just kind of sunk after that. They only got a yard in their overtime possession, kicked a field goal, and then Georgia knew what it needed to do to win the game, and that was score a touchdown, which they did in unusual fashion. On a walk-off review. I don't know what you call it, but the referee Steve Marlowe had the winning call as they reviewed the game-winning play, a touchdown by Josh McCray, and the Georgia sideline erupted after that. And for Georgia fans that were in the stadium, it was a familiar feeling winning in Knoxville, because they haven't lost. They've won 9 straight in that series now, and haven't lost in Knoxville in a long time. So it was very thrilling from a Georgia perspective, and now it's on to the next one. 2 weeks later, here we are and getting ready for Alabama. So it's going to be a tough one.
And for Gunnar Stockton, still not too many starts under his belt. What does it say about him, the way he performed, especially in that second half, and really made some terrific throws, especially that game-tying touchdown, then the 2-point conversion in the fourth quarter?
The throw to London Humphreys was that was textbook. It was perfect. The catch was terrific as well, and then the 2-point conversion to tie the game. But Gunner's been solid through the first 3 games. He He hasn't really stuttered at all. Or the first two games um, there were some concerns from the fan base. We'll say that we're not throwing the deep ball. He's not seeing the field, and I mean people see what they want to see, I guess. But um, maybe what some people don't take into consideration is that the other guys are trying to do stuff to prevent the other side from doing what they want to do. So yeah, we didn't in that first two games that Georgia played against Marshall and Austin Peay. There weren't a lot of deep ball stretching the field and that sort of thing, but they came out doing that against Tennessee and had success doing it in some situations. And Tennessee had a lot of success doing it against Georgia as well. But Gunner's been really good. He's a I don't think there's going to be any hiccups there at that position from him. He's a very humble young man. He's kind of quiet in the public setting, not in the locker room, not on the practice field. But he's a solid player for that position, and Georgia's certainly lucky to have him.
And then, as we talk more about personnel for the Bulldogs, who are some of the real skill players around him, both running the football and then the pass catching options that he has?
Zach Branch is probably the first one, Zachariah. He likes the full name. Zachariah Branch is the first one that comes to mind. He's an explosive receiver. He's got a couple of long touchdowns already this year on short passes, screen plays, and then he gets a block and he's gone. So that's his advantage. But he's been exciting so far. Dylan Bell, London Humphreys, the other receivers that we've mentioned. Noah Thomas doesn't have the transfer from Texas A&M, doesn't have many catches yet, but he's a big target, 6'5". Georgia fans are excited to see him work himself into the offense a little bit more. The running backs, it's kind of by committee, like many teams are these days. And Nate Frazier's the leader there. He had, I think, 73 yards against Tennessee, and Chauncey Bowens has run well, and Dwight Phillips, Peanut, he's run well. And Gunner is an option too to run the football, which gives Georgia a dual threat at that position. So. Those are some of the skill guys. And Georgia's pretty good at the tight end position as well. They haven't thrown to Oscar Delp and Lawson Lucky a whole lot. But they're instrumental in Georgia's offense and in the running game specifically. They're both veteran guys, and they're very talented players. And Georgia lost a really good freshman tight end, Ethan Barbour, against Austin Peay due to an ankle injury. So he's out for a while. He's had to have surgery on his ankle. So that's certainly a miss for Georgia. But tight ends are solid. Running game is solid. Quarterback, wide receivers. Just working on that offensive line a little bit to try to get the right pieces in place and find a little more consistency there.
Then how about on the defensive side of the ball? Similar personnel, similar personality to what we've seen through the years with the Kirby Smart and Glenn Schumann defense?
I think so. No real surprises, no real changes. There's a couple of veterans up front, and Kristen Miller and Jordan Hall. Those guys have been around a while. They know how to play that interior defensive line. Elijah Griffin is a very talented freshman that's getting a lot of playing time, so looking for good things from him. The linebacking core is probably the strength of the team, I think, with C.J. Allen and Raylan Wilson and Chris Cole and Justin Williams. Those four guys rotate in and out consistently and lead the team in tackles for the most part. And they've been very good. The secondary is kind of a mix of experience and youth. Dalen Everett at cornerback and Daniel Harris at the other corner, and then the safeties. KJ Bolden's very good. He was a highly rated prospect coming out of high school, and he's been solid. But as we talked a little bit about the Tennessee game, there were some issues in the secondary, so Dogs have been trying to clean those up over the last couple of weeks, and so they've been working on that, and hopefully going forward, it looks a little bit better, a little bit cleaner.
Well, certainly hope for a bit cleaner at Sanford Stadium than the last time we were there in the rain in 2015 for
Yeah.
Alabama against Georgia. Tell us about the home field advantage. We see this long winning streak. So much credit, I'm sure, to the players and coaches. Georgia's been really good during this stretch, but what has made Sanford such a tough place to play, especially in the last few years?
Well, I think if you ask the coaches, what is it, 33 games now under Kirby. So the last loss going back to 2019, he would immediately point to the players. I mean, you got to have good players to win games, right? It kind of comes down to that. Um, and the crowd and the atmosphere just kind of comes along with that. I mean, if you weren't winning the games, I don't know that the atmosphere would be as much fun. It wouldn't be as intimidating, but it's, as you guys know at Alabama, I mean, you get a big crowd in there. There's a lot of noise made. There's a lot of fanfare. There's a lot of activity on the video boards, and there's fireworks and lights, and they try to make it fun for the fans for a great experience, and they want to have fun. And then when your team wins and does well, I mean, they are having fun. So it all kind of goes together. But I think it starts. Any kind of home field streak starts obviously with having good personnel and having a good coaching staff that teaches these guys how to play the right way. And Georgia's no different in that respect. And 33 is that's an impressive number. I mean, if you're a season ticket holder, you don't want to take that for granted. Every time you go to the stadium, you're expecting to win. So that's kind of a feather in your cap too when you have that confidence. Not, you don't want to take it for granted. You don't want to be overconfident, but you want to have that ability to feel like you're going to win the game every time you go and play on your home turf. And Georgia's been able to do that for a long time now.
Got a night game, so plenty of time for fans during the day as they get to Athens to explore a little bit. What are some places Alabama fans should check out or see around Georgia and downtown?
Oh my goodness. Well, I don't go downtown much. There's lots of establishments to eat and drink if you're into all of that. I'm certainly into eating. I'm not into the drinking as much anymore, but I'll take a nice cold Diet Coke any day on a hot day or a hot night. But there's tons of places downtown. The campus is beautiful. I mean, there's a lot of tailgating spots on North Campus and all around. So, I would recommend that. Like any college campus, you want to get there early, explore your surroundings, see where you are. Find a good parking spot if you don't have one already, and hopefully you don't pay too much for that. And just make it a great day. Don't overindulge and cheer for your team. But there's a lot of eating and drinking establishments and a lot of options in and around Sanford Stadium. Right up Baxter Street, there's restaurants at the top of the hill up there, and just a few steps over on Broad Street, College Square, and all of that downtown. So that all of it's close by, and that's what makes it great too. Everything's kind of walking distance, but as a comedian once said, everywhere's walking distance if you have the time.
That's pretty good. Well, we look forward to being back in Athens coming up this week, and now with the new schedule, every 4 years as opposed to 10 years like it has been.
Oh my goodness.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
Scott,
What'd you think of that? What do you? I mean, the SEC can't let go of this series, can they? I mean, it's and I see why. I mean, why would you not want these two teams to play on a regular basis? I mean, it's a big time matchup. There's a lot of anticipation for it every year. I'm sure the conference does well, TV does well. Everybody makes out pretty good with this matchup. So I hear people complaining about having to, we got to go back to Tuscaloosa, and it's like, well, you're going to have to play everybody eventually, so why not?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me. It's like, well, maybe you got the luck of the draw there wasn't as good this year as it might be the next year. So, but you got to play everybody, and why not now?
Absolutely. Any reaction from you for the three permanent opponents you're going to have, or the annual opponents that Georgia's going to have over the next few years?
Those are the three that I kind of anticipated. Obviously, Auburn and Florida. I mean, those are two longtime traditional rivals, and The Georgia-Auburn matchup's been going on forever, and the same with Florida and the neutral site thing. So those were two, I think, that everybody could guess those. And then the third was, there was probably a group of folks that thought it might be Tennessee, and then another group, just from a geographic standpoint, South Carolina. And Georgia and South Carolina have a tradition as well. Even before the Gamecocks joined the SEC in '92, I mean they had played on a mostly regular basis, bordering states. It's a close trip. There is a good rival going there. So I think it's here in this first go around. If they review it every 4 years and look for changes and all that stuff, the first three they picked for Georgia, I think, is pretty fitting.
Yeah, it's certainly good to see. Well, again, we look forward to Alabama and Georgia, not only this year, excuse me, but next year coming up as well. Scott, we look forward to visiting with you more down the road. Just thank you for your time for the 2025 edition. We'll see you on Saturday. Thank you.
Thanks, Roger. Looking forward to the weekend.
This is what being a NASCAR fan is all about. Singular history and tradition, and triple-header playoffs action to ratchet up the stakes. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Look forward to seeing Scott and everybody coming up at Sanford Stadium on Saturday. It's the Crimson Tide and the Georgia Bulldogs. That's what's up next as we take a look at our upcoming schedule. Radio start time from Athens Central Time will be 3:30, 4:30, of course, coming up for Alabama against Georgia. We look forward to having the booth cam presented by Regions Bank streaming live as well for the ball game on all of our social media platforms at UA_CTSN. Anywhere you're watching the show, you can watch the booth cam presented by Regions Bank. Following the ball game, Chris Stewart will talk about it with Kalen DeBoer for the Kalen DeBoer television show that'll be on our statewide affiliates all across the state. Again, coming up on Sunday, and then RolledTide.com on demand, as well as Alabama Athletics social media platforms coming up as well. Then we'll be back with this show, Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, coming up on Tuesday and Thursday next week. Don't forget Monday night as well, Crimson Tide Rewind at Baumhower's Victory Grill in Vestavia Hills. We'll get the latest from Tyler Watts and see what he thought about Alabama against Georgia from this past week. And we've got to look ahead to Alabama against Vanderbilt coming up next week. But again, to follow us, make sure you like and subscribe to everything we have at UA_CTSN for the very latest on Crimson Tide Athletics. As we wrap up this edition of Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, we always like to close out the Thursday show with the final word from Kalen DeBoer, as well as Bray Hubbard. Last night, they joined Chris Stewart at Baumhower's Victory Grill here in Tuscaloosa for Hey Coach and the Kalen DeBoer Show. As we wrap things up, we'll let them say goodbye. Special thanks again to Zabien Brown, Darren Schaefer, Scott Howard, our guest on the show. Thanks to Ethan Carabin, our video producer, who put this entire show together. And now we close it out with Kalen DeBoer, Chris Stewart, and Bray Hubbard getting you ready for Alabama against Georgia.
Coach, what have you got for us?
Yeah, just excited about this weekend. A great challenge. We start SEC play, and our guys, have had a couple good weeks now to just continue to gain momentum, continue to stack days and improve. And we're looking forward to taking the field. Be a night kickoff, and be a great atmosphere.
Bray, how about you? Got anything to say to the fans as we're about to head to Athens for the weekend?
Let's do it. Let's go. It's about that time.
It is about that time. Great stuff. Appreciate you both very much. Thank you for the time, and best of luck to you this weekend, guys.
Thank you. Roll Tide.
Coach Kalen DeBoer and Bray Hubbard, kind enough to join us here from Baumhower's Victory Grill.